go. First down. Viral moment of the week. Let's see what we got, Peggy.
All right, they bamming out in Bama, Alabama. That is DeBoer already on the hot seat after a loss, 17-31 versus Florida State University.
Hold up, Peggy.
What's up?
Wait 1 second.
Hold on.
Forgive me, God, for I do know what I do.
Okay.
Everybody that's watching this show and they saying, why in the world is Cam wearing that other team's jersey?
Because you done switched up.
I ain't switched up. Never will switch up.
Okay.
Never will switch up.
Uh-huh.
Usually I'm used to my color complexion of my jerseys, of my representation, matching the aesthetic of your jersey. Don't let that fly over your head, dreads, or your toupee. But for the sake of this show, this episode,
okay,
I had to dig in my big bag and bring out Mr. Gum.
Mr. Gum.
I had to go get him.
For the people that don't know, bud.
Because the thing about this is, before you get to the doggone topic at hand, people must understand there is a certain aesthetic about old Alabama football.
No, say what now?
Alabama.
Slammer.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's an expectation there, man.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make a point. You feel? Hold on.
Let's see the back. Watch your hair. Okay, hold on. Still ain't in there. I ain't got them problems. There you go. All right, don't be no chump, Gump. All right, let's go.
So it's that I had to say, hold on.
Okay.
Folks don't understand. Now, with me making the prerequisite of an apology before we even get to this.
Yeah, let them know.
Roll the clip.
Okay, Nick Saban has something to say about the loss of Alabama.
Yeah, well, that's all about what they did last year. Yeah, that creates the expectation for this year. But, you know, obviously for me and for a lot of the Bama fans, the disappointment that Florida State dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Yep. But the good news is, you know, every team has the best opportunity to improve from week 1 to week 2. Because really going into the season, you don't really know what you have for sure as a coach. And you're always very anxious about what might happen in the first game. And I'm sure they're all disappointed, players, coaches alike. But they do have a great chance to improve from week 1 to week 2. That's when you usually make the biggest improvement. LSU, Miami, and Ohio State all really impressed me. But I think Texas, Notre Dame, and Clemson all have a really good chance to have great teams this year, too, if they make the progress they're capable of.
All right, so Cam, it's some big shoes to fill in Alabama. Obviously, Coach Saban was a great coach. He didn't start off hot. But, you know, after that first season, boom, he balling. So Coach DeBoer has big shoes to fill. But dive in, man, at this point, is he already in the hot seat in Alabama? Let's start there.
I think, you know, let's put things into perspective here. Let's not overreact. But when you think about where Coach Kalen DeBoer is with where his position for Alabama, there's a lot of things to unpack.
Okay.
We've never, and I mean never, uttered these words, not in my adult life.
Talk to me.
Alabama looked soft. Alabama got dominated at the line of scrimmage, and the lack of physicality was never something that we would explain, not a University of Alabama team, ever.
Yep. That's real.
I know Paul Bear Bryant is rolling over in his grave.
Turning over.
Because of the expectation that was set centuries ago, generations ago. And when you watch that game with Florida State and Alabama, it wasn't even more so of the threats prior to the game. It was the mishaps that was happening during the game.
Yeah.
Usually we see or we understand Alabama gonna run the football.
Yeah.
Alabama's going to dominate. Alabama is going to bring this sense of physicality that most teams only wish to have.
Yeah.
But Florida State set the tempo. Florida State came out there with the swagger. Florida State was the big dogs, and they had opportunities to show and prove that they're one of the top-tier teams in America.
So when you talked about set the standard, the swagger, normally when you go against Alabama, they set the tone before they even get
Early
there.
on.
Early on. And so Johnny Manziel had something to say about the Alabama, I guess, bravado that they normally have?
In the past, you walk in, face an Alabama team, you probably got a little fear. This is Bama, the team that's been a dynasty, the team, you got a little fear. That fear aspect of what Alabama is completely gone. And nobody's scared of them boys. Not Vandy, not Kentucky, not nobody. Nobody's walking in and seeing Alabama on the schedule and having any kind of shake, any kind of fear, nothing. They've been getting wiped the last couple years. You say that buyout's deep, but like they're not going to sit here and let this stand for sure. They'll go find it in the woods somewhere.
So it didn't stop there. Obviously, you made your own statements on, coaches outside of the SEC, how they have to level up. So we have to run that back too as well.
Stop hiring coaches that does not understand the value, the marketability, the expectations of what it's like to play and coach in the SEC. I'm actually happy that that other school is actually losing. If you ask me, I hope they keep Coach DeBoer because we have chances now, in Auburn. Now, this is the thing that you must understand from all SEC schools. You have kids that have grown up that only knows SEC championship, SEC championship, national championship. So now as adults, we have pull. Now we get to say, we don't want you because you don't understand this. I think.
Break it down. Got to. You said a lot.
I said a lot, but I'm going to back it up with merit, though. Okay, so when you do the comparables, right, the program's expectations, all right, when I do my research and I say, hey, what did Nick Saban inherit versus what did Kalen DeBoer inherit as his second or going into his second years, right? When Nick Saban was at him, he inherited a program that was on probation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What DeBoer inherited is a already loaded roster, fresh off of a college football playoff run up under Nick Saban. So the expectations for Coach DeBoer was already set.
Yeah.
Now, is the expectation will ever get met? No. And I don't think he knew. He knew, but he didn't really understand that losing at that school is not the same as losing in the University of Washington. What they say on Wizard of Oz, I'm not in Kansas anymore. Well, Coach DeBoer, you're not in Washington anymore.
Yeah.
And you have to understand you got to either get with the program or let the dough hit you, with a good however that. Well,
a good love split you.
Yeah. Help me out, Pig.
I got you, brother.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing that you have to also take into consideration, Peggy. Yeah, Nick Saban's first year was 7-6 overall, 4-4 in the SEC.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer's first year was 9-4 overall and 5-3 in the SEC. Now, you may not think that that's success, but it is success because it's a new regime and a new era. Okay. The unfortunate truth about this, Peggy, is this. I don't think Coach DeBoer's implementation will be patient enough for him to properly input his way of coaching. I don't think he has the same grace because fans, boosters, everybody that's involved is expecting a right now deliverable that I don't think he has the time for. I think Alabama, if he continues to just squander opportunities, and that's not to say this week one, it's not overreact, but if he squanders an opportunity where subpar is that he's giving the fans, then I think they do take that buyout.
So let me ask you a question, because you had a great analogy as what he received from Nick Saban. One thing that I thought about too when he was talking about, he got a playoff team from Nick Saban, when Nick Saban got a team that was on suspension. Is it harder to create a winning mentality or to keep a winning mentality? So it's like, Alabama was already polished. You just got to keep up the standard. But Nick Saban didn't really have, any other than Bear Bryant, but, that was years prior. But, Alabama wasn't in the same place. So the seat that Kalen sits in is a tough seat. So from you've been in situations where you came into a team and created a winning mentality from a player's perspective, but from a coach perspective, is it harder to inherit that winning mentality or create it from scratch?
I think even though that's a great point, inherit or to keep it going, right? Yeah. But I think there's something different here.
Talk to me.
I think you have to implement your way of doing things. You see what I'm saying? Because it's so easy for people to say, well, Coach Saban would have done this.
That's not the Saban way.
This is not Nick Saban, respectfully. And I know Coach DeBoer probably have heard his fair share of what Saban would have done.
Yeah.
That's not the truth. I've dealt with that. I was the quarterback that came right behind Tom Brady.
Correct.
And how many times I heard, Brady would, listen, bro, I ain't Brady. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that there's a frustration there where we'll never have lost this game if it was Nick. Well, Nick has some ugly losses too, but that's not to suppress his dominance, because that dynasty that he created was nothing less of flawless, but it still took time. Yes. So when you're looking at, the whole thing that really ticks people off the most is we're not used to Alabama losing the last 3 out of 4 games. Period. We're also not used to seeing just one road win in 6 tries as an Alabama team.
Yeah.
So in 6 tries, you only got one win? Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah. Even if you get one loss on the road,
we're not used to that.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for people to turn the page in Tuscaloosa.
Bars.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Turn the page. Coach Saban ain't coming back to save you. But there was a presence that Coach Saban had that even sometimes it was like, bro, you just won the national championship. Why are you still, the grumpy Scrooge?
Yeah, thanks.
You feel what I'm saying? Like that was his level of preparation. Like he wanted to dominate. It still wasn't good enough.
Correct.
But what Coach DeBoer can't allow is looking at the North Star and saying, hey, we got to do things because that's what Saban would have done. Allowing same message from Arch. You can't allow somebody else's expectations to bleed into what your personal belief and your trajectory plan should be.
Yeah.
That's not fair for you.
Got to run your own race.
Got to run your own race. There's a lot of statistics here that we have that even gets to the point even more. Share that.
Yeah. All right, so Saban, he coached out of 230 games. He only had 4 unranked losses. All right, Coach DeBoer, out of coaching 14 games, he already received his 4 losses to 4 unranked teams. So, granted, Saban had a bigger sample size to lose those 4 games, and DeBoer already lost within the 14. He lost 4 to unranked teams. So that's a tough sled. That's a tough room to walk in.
Yeah, but also Coach DeBoer is dealing with something that Nick Saban never had to deal with.
And what is that?
NIL.
That is true. Because at this time, if your program was good, I just want to play for Bama, and that was enough. We ain't got money to pay.
Saban.
Yeah.
Saban
I want to play for Saban.
The thing about it was this. The thing that made Nick Saban an elite coach is he made great players play elite.
Yeah.
Good players play great. Average players play good. And bad players play average. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, now there's this dilemma that we have at hand that nobody's really understanding.
That's a good point, Cam. I didn't think about that.
People have to factor in Alabama probably still would have went through a tough slate even if Nick Saban was there.
Because they backups could have beat top-ranked
You see what I'm saying?
Programs.
Now, the threshold of talent in the SEC now makes everybody competable.
Yeah, that's real.
And that's what Kalen DeBoer is being faced with right now.
That's true.
Nobody's taking that or factoring that in. So when you're talking about comparing and contrasting this and that, and yes, the difference in Nick Saban versus Kalen DeBoer's, second year, Nick Saban went undefeated his second year. And when you think about that type of dominance and you say, golly, we lost to Florida State, which Florida State is a good team. Yeah. They should be ranked. They're not ranked. They should be ranked. But needless to say, we're not used to the brand and the style of play to be played like that. Yeah. And we're not, I think too, the amount of star players did not get off. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? We're used to Alabama having a dominant player. That dominant player was shelved. Ryan Williams did nothing. Yeah. And then you go down the other list of players, they did nothing elite, right? When you talk about great coaches and great philosophies, the main thing is this. We need great players to do their job, the same as other players to do their job too.
Real quick, and you brought up NIL, and I don't think a lot of people give the type of respect to NIL to really – that really separates the talent all over the college football space. You know, before it was like all the best players are only going to go to these programs. But that also makes me think, what program are these legacy programs are still as strong or even really the same since NIL came into play?
I think the biggest thing that the NIL era did was take the reserve clips away.
And elaborate on reserve clips.
So typically in the gun, and I'm not trying to promote gun violence, but you have bullets. Mm-hmm. You have a cartridge that's shelved right there that you know you have in your back pocket. You don't have that no more, not with the NIL now. Not with, universities really taking into mind that, hey, we can pay for the backup quarterback. Hey, we could pay for the backup running back. Hey, we could pay for the backup DB or the second DB or the second receiver. And now it strips any roster for having true depth, and that's what made the SEC dominant for years. You don't have that no more.
That's real.
A guy that may be at SEC may now be able to transfer to a Pac-12 team, to a Big Ten team, to a SWAC team, to any team to say, I don't want to be just any guy on the team. I want to be the guy.
Yeah.
And that's the point right there.
Yeah. That's real.